Hey guys, what's up? No, you're right. No grid down. Not at all. Hey Badger Life, what's up? Stephanie? Somebody give me a Jennifer, what's happening? You might got a 5 for 5 in there for me? Hey, it's in your Lou. Good to see you. Alright, cool. I really honestly don't have a whole lot of time right now, guys, but I wanted to get this to you because I'm not sure if I'm going to have time later on tonight. Hey, Leisure, good to see you, man. Hope you're feeling well. 210, Becca, what's happening? I am going to right now. Hey, Flavin, what's up, brother? Love you, man. Love you, brother. Penny, Tina. Tina got the first. Hey, she got the cookie today, guys. She got the cookie. That's for sure. I am going to go ahead and kind of hide the chat because obviously I trust my mods. Hey, John, and going to get into it. So, I got some very valid criticism about me giving a whole bunch of shout outs and just off subject a lot my last live stream, and I was, okay? It was very, very valid, and I know I do it. I just try not to. So I'm going to try to kind of respect everybody's time and at least get through what we need to get through, and then if we want to talk afterwards, we can. That way, I'm trying to make, respect other people's time. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. We definitely had a couple of eruptions, guys, and it's back to back kind of stuff. And yeah, me too, John. Anyway, I'm glad to see you're out of the hospital. Hey, I got a squirrel for a second. Leisure, I'm so glad, man. I hated to hear that you were in the hospital, for any reason at all. But okay, we'll get moving. So, geomagnetic storm, yeah. We actually went into geomagnetic storm levels and kind of came back down already. Hey, Ripper. And so, look at that. It was very quick-lived. Now, it doesn't mean that we're not going to shoot right back up in it. This is a Space Weather Prediction Center. And as you can see here on July 21st, their prediction was, or forecasting, G1 storm right at the end of the day. Well, it looks like it got here about 6 hours early. So, that isn't, actually, believe it or not, guys, they give themselves a 7-hour buffer one side or the other. So they actually hit this forecast. You got to give them credit when they do it right? I mean, come on. But as you can see, geomagnetic storm levels for multiple days. And I'm going to show you why. Now, also, I want to point out, you see they're forecasting for percentage chances of us R1 or R2, which is radio blackouts storms. And what that does is that directly equates to solar flares and the level of them. So the chances of flares are starting to come down a little bit right now because the sunspots are rotating off, and a few of them have kind of gotten smaller, and that kind of a thing. So, and they're not showing not too many significant, especially after the solar tsunami, any kind of significant disruption within the sunspot itself, right? Miss V, yes. What's up, Miss V? Okay. But so that's what's going on with that. Now, let me show you. See how? Remember 2 days ago or whatever when I did my last live stream, how these things were like all over the sun and they were way bigger. But they're still sunspots. So and again, I have to say this. The sun can do what it wants, when it wants, and how it wants to do it. That is just a simple fact. And looky here. See this? This wasn't here a little while ago. I just recorded an update for Marfugal, guys. So please go check their show out tonight. I think they're going to play the update that I posted for them. Go over and show some support and some love. But it's a little short little video I put together for them to show the Fugel fam, what's going on with this. But and they may not, if something else happens, they may not even show it. I don't know. I don't expect anything. But look at this, guys. I wish this was updated when I did the Fugel fan video, because look at that. That is most definitely, wow. That's all I can say. I may even remake that video for them. This hadn't updated yet, but look at that. Now what you're seeing here is, and let me pause it. Yeah, Daniel, it's more than the double tap, brother. It is like a quadruple tap, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a second. These things are just, this is significant, okay? And I'm not saying this is grid down because I absolutely do not think that this is. I think that this is substantial enough that we could see some stuff from it. I got you, man. But yeah, it's man, it's wow. So what you're seeing, and let me explain, because this looks like it's pretty intense, right? And it is, I have to say. Now, this is NOAA, right? Now, NASA, we get to the NASA model. It's the same model, just NASA's version of it. Check it out. It's showing the same thing. So let me say this. When both of those models show similar things, it typically happens that way. Now, it's not 100%, guys. I'm not going to say anything's ever 100% because it's not. These are all forecasting. These are all tools that we look at, and, you know, they're wrong sometimes. So, yeah, this is, and what's significant about this one, guys, this is the eruption from that solar tsunami, and I'll show you that here in a second. But what you're looking at here, guys, is a coronal hole stream that kind of had started to leave the sun already, and then that solar tsunami eruption busted off really close to that, and it is definitely combining. At least these models are showing it to do so. And with that happening, look what's happening to, number one, the density. See where my cursor is up here? We're talking between 30 and 50. That's their forecasted value there. I mean, that's high, guys. Not to mention, you take 30 and 50 plasma density, and you add 800. That's what this is. Kilometers per second to that. What's normal? 3 to 5. So we're 300 kilometers per second above. So you take high density, you take high speed, all at the same time, and then you factor in this. Let me show you this. This is what we're getting hit with now. There was a second CME between this one and the one I just showed you. Okay? And so what I'm saying, because we have geomagnetism already hanging around, even their forecasting, even before this model right here, this forecasting chart here, is not taking into consideration the bigger eruption that I just showed you guys. Okay? It hasn't had time to do that. So we're already going to be under a little bit of a stress with our magnetic field anyway. So what we're seeing is definitely, we're going to have to watch this one. And again, I don't think it's grid down. I'm going to say that. And the reason I say it like that, because I understand that that's a legitimate concern for a lot of people. And it is for me also when certain things happen, right? But I want to let you guys know that if that's ever the case, and I come on here, if I'm able to come on here, that is the first thing that's going to come out of my mouth. All right? So, and it's probably going to be in the title. All over the thumbnail, I'm going to make it very clear that I think that is a possibility. Right? With this, I think, taking in consideration what just happened, these G1 storms here, the next day or even on this same day now, because I think that the storm here that they were forecasting, I think it was because of the coronal hole stream. That this isn't even a CME hit, I don't think. So now if that happens at the same time as this, you can look at, at least a G2 in my opinion. Now I have to say again, this is all saying that these models are correct. There's no way for me to tell if they are or not. And when both models agree with one another, I have to take it a little bit more, more serious because they're agreeing. And this thing is, yeah. So you could clearly see how it looks like this model is showing it getting swept up. And something else I want to say, this is not just a side swipe. This is a direct hit on both models. And you guys know I don't usually talk in these kind of definitive terms. But with a situation like this, I do think that it needs to be said like that. Both models are showing direct hit on all perspectives here. So whatever that is, you guys take it for whatever you want there. But, and I'm not trying to blow it out of proportion. I mean, I could come out here and tell you guys to go dig a hole and go get in it, right? But I'm not going to do that, right? It's just not, it's just something I'm not going to do. But something else I want to point out. I noticed this earlier, guys, when I was making that video for Marth earlier. You can see Marth and Dex right here. I noticed the BZ went down to negative 17. And this is before we were in storm level. That, it caught my attention. But really what caught my attention even more was this is negative. We look for negative 6. So negative 17 is pretty tilted, right? But it went from negative 17 to positive 19 in an hour and a half. That's a pretty, that's a big angle shift. Now, when we're in the positive, we're kind of deflecting things better, right? So when we're down here is when we're getting hit. But the fact that it's moving that fast and it's, bouncing around a little bit is telling me that we're going to have to pay attention. Because if it's going to be bouncing around like that, we're going to be taking hits off and on. And it's going to be like a tuning fork, guys. We're going to get rung and we're going to keep vibrating. And we're going to get rung again while we're vibrating. So it can open up holes. There was a conversation in the comment section talking about, the magnetic field doesn't really get cracks. Technically, that's correct. Okay? The holes kind of open up. They get thinner, let more stuff in. It's not like a crack like on an eggshell. Okay? It's just a term that we use, and most people use it. Even, the higher educated people, they just use it. That's just the term that they use. But, when I say that, I use the same term. It's just so everybody understands it a little bit better. But I wanted to clarify that because it ain't really like a crack. It really truly is like a hole that opens up, or a thinner spot lets more stuff in. And when I use the word thin, okay, that's another thing that's subjective there. I'm not going to get into all that. I try to use as basic terms as I can to get the information out correctly, but I want everybody that has no idea what space weather is to still have an understanding of what I'm saying. That's why I do this. So just understand all that, okay, guys? And I get trying to be technically correct because I really try to be. But, those kinds of terms that are kind of loosely used, that's what we got, But so let me take you and I'll show you guys over here the eruption. And it's pretty easy to see when we look at the 211 angstrom. Now that's on SDO, guys. Satellite right out in front of Earth looking at the sun, right? What we're looking at here, okay, this is the 211 angstrom like I just said. But what we're going to check out is the coronal hole and the tsunami on this one. So let me do this. Now, obviously, guys, I've shown you guys coronal holes before. This is a bigger one. Not only is it pretty big in size, but the north hole and the south hole have kind of grown together. So we're connected to that. Now, I get a lot of questions on why this is black. People think we're kind of like seeing through the sun there and stuff, and it's a legit thing to ask. But what you're seeing here, guys, is a difference in temperature. A lot of people don't know this, but the sun, the surface of the sun, is colder than its atmosphere, than the corona. And it baffles scientists to some level, to the level of that they sent a satellite out there specifically. You guys remember the Parker SP probe, right? They sent it out there. It's supposed to kiss the sun. Its main goal was to get inside the corona and try to figure out, at least collect some data on why the corona is actually hotter than the surface. So what you're seeing here is actually the surface of the sun. And the corona, the atmosphere, has opened up, allowing for all these highly charged particles just to spew out. So, yeah, that's what it is. Okay? But anyway, I am just going to move on from that. I'll show you guys the tsunami here. And also, it does a calibration roll, so don't freak out. It happens all the time on these satellites. I showed them to you guys a bunch. That is the calibration roll. Okay? Now, right there, okay? It happens right here. Again, right in front of us. But yeah. So you got that. Now watch. Watch what happens. It happens quick, guys. This thing is moving pretty quick. So as I go forward here, you're seeing it start to erupt right here where my cursor is. Okay? Now watch if you look at the kind of disruption, kind of hazy look, it goes right across the whole front of the sun. Okay? I'll run it a little bit faster so you can see it. See that? I know it's hard to see. I really do. There's really not much I can do with that because this is like the sun's is the background, not the darkness of space. So that's why it's kind of hard to see on this capture here, guys. So, and that's, look at that. So, and it's going out in all directions. And sometimes these things happen and we don't get CMEs off of them. Not only did this do a solar tsunami across the surface, it did shoot out. And I just showed you how it shot out. So, this is, and it couldn't have happened like any more right in front of us. They call it the Earth strike zone. And again, it's not a real strike zone, but we're still using that term. You see what I'm saying, guys? That's what I mean about the magnetic field crack, that kind of thing. That's why we use those terms. Just makes it easier to understand, especially for people that don't quite have a good grasp on space weather and what it actually is. That's why I do that. I'm not here to try to help like college professors and stuff like that, because obviously they would know way more than I ever could. But I'm here to try to help those that have kind of the same understanding I do, or a little bit less, that kind of thing. But just know that you guys can understand this. So don't think you're too stupid, because you're not. I don't care who you are. I don't. You can understand this, and if you don't, all you gotta do is ask. I'm sure people in my chat will even help you. And that's what I'm trying to say. We can get you to understand. So, as we go here, watch this. Oops, sorry. I'm rocking it back and forth so you guys can kind of see that, right? I'm sure you can see it a little bit, but just notice, again, these coronal holes are pretty wide open. So this is why that all this is kind of combining. You know what I mean? I'm doing okay, Thor. We'll talk about that at the end of the stream here a little bit. I don't want to... Yeah, I'm trying to respect people's time, I guess. And that's why. But thanks for asking, man. I really do appreciate it. I know I'm talking kind of fast because I am kind of in a hurry. Got things I have to get done today. But this geoelectric field model, guys, this is space weather's effect on our artificial electrical components. That's what it's trying to represent. So as you're looking at this, again, this model was mainly made to try to help figure out the connection between space weather and earthquakes. Now, I'm not going to get into that whole big subject, but this is what these are for, right? But it's every time we take geomagnetic hits, guess what? This thing is reacting too. So it's just another thing we can look at. And why is it more around the cities here? Well, I've said this before too, because there's more electrical components around the bigger cities. That's why it shows up like this. Okay? You get up towards the mountains and stuff, obviously there's not as many people. Out in Montana, the Dakotas, those kinds of places where there's not a whole lot of population, you're going to understand this by looking at this. You can almost do a population map off of using this thing. It's kind of crazy, but that's how it works. So, and then we'll take a look at the. I'm gonna back that off a little bit here. So, the magnetosphere models. Okay, this is our magnetosphere reacting to solar weather, right? So let me go ahead and play this. This is the magnetic pressure one. And I'm probably just going to show this one because this is really what I want to show you. You can see this thing starting to hit. Okay, not yet. First off, this is quite a bit of magnetic pressure hanging around our planet anyway. So let me get moving here. You see us bouncing around a little bit, but watch what happens right here. You see that? See how we're kind of staying right there? Our bow shock's kind of hanging around the same position. But watch it push out. See it start to push out? It's sensing that stuff's coming, and then it's pushing out even more, and then here it comes. Bam. See it? It's a really good representation of how our magnetic field reacts when it's getting hit from solar wind. So, we get rapid expansion, we get compression, we get all that stuff. But watch as this stuff just keeps moving. I mean, it definitely. I mean, this is a CME hit in my opinion. Because usually, like if it's like from like a phi angle flip or something like that, or the current sheet goes through, usually it's like just like one or two little small hits. This is like little waves coming in. Okay, so I guess the biggest takeaway, guys, is the fact that, let me get back to where I need to be. It's over here. Well, you guys, I've shown you guys this 100 times. Take a screenshot there if you want to know what could happen during these geomagnetic storms. I'm not going to read those. You guys can read those. The links are at the bottom of Space Weather Prediction Center anyway, over here. Go all the way down. You'll find almost everything I use is down here. There are links. You guys can go check them out. I encourage you to do so. You will learn so much more by looking at it yourself than having somebody tell you about it. But this right here, this is significant. There's no other way to say it. And I'm not trying to like play it up or play it down. I'm just trying to be straight down the middle with it. I don't think it's grid down. I do think that this is probably moderate geomagnetic storm level is what I think. I don't think we're going to get to like a G5 or anything like that. I can see us get to a G3, but that is just what it is, right? No, really not a whole other way to say it, but yeah. So again, guys, when the density gets that high at the same time, and I say this a lot, when the density goes up and the speed is elevated, that's when we take bigger hits. So yeah, you can go outside today, Hurricane Heather. Go outside every day. Need to. Go get them feet on the ground. Get them bare feet out there in that grass. It'll help, I promise. Anyway, but you can see, watch, this is interesting too. Watch how this changes right there. Back at you, Linda. See this right here? I'll move it. See how that kind of, ain't that interesting? How it started to get a little bit less dense right in the middle? It's odd to me. I don't know that I've ever seen this model show that. But I think what that's showing you is that, we're looking at these, not are they moving from not just left to right here, we got to take into consideration, we got a north-south aspect of this also. So it could be moving up and down and all that, and that's why we see these things kind of open up in the middle there a little bit, I think, like that. So, and again, these are just forecasting tools. There's a reason it's called tools. Now, you see this up here? This is probably from the coronal hole stream, right? Watch what happens as this CME blows off. Watch it just like combine with this thing. See how it kind of hits our planet at the same time? So, I really think that that's probably what's going to happen. Now, if it happens at the exact right time and all those kinds of things, we can see higher level stuff. But at this point, I'm not willing to say that yet until more data comes in. And if it does get to the point where we're talking about a G4 storm or a G5, I promise you guys I'll be right back on here. Okay? So that's kind of what I would say. Let's check it out here. Okay. But where are we at as far as time? 25 minutes. Okay. I guess I am going to go ahead and cut it here, guys. Please go check out Marfugal tonight. I did an update for him over there, but there's a lot of other good stuff to talk about over there too. So when you see that come across, and I'm trying to get back to doing this a little bit more regularly, and I know people are asking me, how I'm feeling and stuff. I'm passing kidney stones also right now. It's been pretty hard. I've got a lot of other stuff also that I'm not going to talk about. I appreciate your guys' concern. I really do, but I can't. I'm not going to talk about it here. I just can't. Sorry. I don't feel good. And I'm just going to leave it at that for now. And again, I've not talked about this with anybody, so and anything else that people might think is why I'm feeling bad or whatever, you're probably wrong, because I've not even talked about this with anybody other than my wife, and that's it. So, but yeah. So, and I understand. I do. I love you guys. I miss all you guys, and that's why I'm back here doing this. And I want you guys to, if you could, please share it out. Help me get this thing back rolling a little bit. And I can't promise I'm going to be here every day, but I can promise I'll be here when big stuff happens, and I'll try to be here and give you updates when needed. Trying to help people understand this stuff better. And all the channels I send you guys to, please go check them out. I'm not going to go over that whole big list today. But anyway, love you guys. And just always remember, even if there comes a day when Wages World isn't here, you guys got each other in there. And you guys are smart, okay? You can do it. I promise. Step out. Take a chance. Don't be afraid to be wrong. Because I promise you're going to be wrong sometimes. But you just got to be able to admit it and learn from it and move forward. And that's where we go, right? So that's what I would suggest. And, anybody that ever thought about starting anything like a channel or something, they should try. Even if it doesn't work out, what's the worst that can happen? You got to shut it off, right? I mean, come on. Don't be afraid to be wrong. But love all you guys. God bless. Yahusha saves, and yeah, you can still drink this Kool-Aid, I hope. I am blue Kool-Aid, right? And yes, you can drink it. That's for sure. See you guys soon.